biggest of stages, saying you're guarding the top talent ever. Nick, I'll start with you. Do the Heat have the personnel to slow down LeBron?
So that's such a fascinating question, Jenna, because here's what I know. I know the zone will not work against LeBron. Like, you can go ahead and try that grade school stuff. It ain't going to work. He's the smartest player ever. We can argue about whether or not he's the best player ever. That zone will be solved in approximately 2.5 quarters. So that pitch is going to be hit out of the park. I also know this. There is this narrative, well, the Heat have these wings to throw at LeBron. Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, and most notably Andre Iguodala. Andre Iguodala was such a good defender against LeBron that in the 4 finals they played against each other, LeBron averaged 33, 10, and 9. So that's not going to be a factor. However, Jenna, Bam Adebayo could be. If the Los Angeles Clippers had Bam Adebayo instead of Ivica Zubac, not only would Doc Rivers still have his job, the Clippers would have won the title this year. Bam Adebayo is an absolute massive difference maker without any offense. And he, by the way, he's a good offensive player. But just what he provides on the defensive end and his ability to meet LeBron at the rim is going to be a key to this series, Jenna. And it's going to be incumbent on LeBron that his jump shot look like it looked in Game 5 against Denver as opposed to the beginning of that series, because Bam does present the first rim protector LeBron will have faced this entire postseason.
All right, so then, Broussard, how do they do it? How do the Heat come out and pull off the upset against the LA Lakers?
Look, the Heat cannot beat the Lakers, period. For the Miami Heat to win this series, the Lakers have to beat themselves. The Lakers have to beat themselves by missing three-pointers like their role players, which can happen. They have to turn the ball over. They're one of the worst turnover teams in the league, so that could happen. And they have to miss free throws. We know they're one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the league. That could happen. Playoff Rondo has to revert into regular season Rondo. Dwight Howard has to revert from being a locker room joy to a locker room cancer once again. That's what has to happen. Now, here's how the Heat can help themselves. They have to out-hustle the Lakers. They have to get to every loose ball, every 50-50 ball, and they have to wear down the Lakers with their tenacity, their grit, and just their never-say-die attitude, which I think they did to Boston. It'll be difficult to do that to the Lakers because the Lakers are so much bigger. Boston was a small team, but that's what they can do. They got to shoot lights out. They were the second best three-point shooting team in the league during the regular season. Haven't been great in the playoffs from three, but they got to get that back. And then Eric Spoelstra has got to come up with some type of defense to hinder LeBron and the Lakers. Against Milwaukee, he walled off the paint and hurt Giannis. Against Boston, he went zone and hurt the Celtics. He's got to figure out something like that against LeBron. And look, in 2013, when the Lakers beat San Antonio, the Spurs had a defense that baffled LeBron. I know for a fact it baffled LeBron. Spoelstra needs to go back and watch those tapes and see what the Spurs did. Now, they had Tim Duncan, yes, but can Bam Adebayo be that guy? But they've got to come up with a defense that gets LeBron out of sorts. Nick mentioned the jump shot in Game 5. LeBron's a rhythm shooter. He's not going to shoot like that in every game and maybe even in most games in this series. So they can devise something that's going to limit LeBron a little bit and force him to be a jump shooter, and I think that's their best shot.
Wilds, I know you'll enjoy this one. You know, in sports, we have this thing called, a copycat league where you see one team do something, you do it because they had success. So if I'm the Miami Heat, I'm Riley, I'm Coach Spo, what I'm doing is what the Lakers did to advance. I'm calling Adam Silver and I'm saying, hey, Adam.
Oh, my God.
LeBron's getting to the foul line just a little too much. Hey, Adam, we just don't like how the refs are calling this. Hey, Adam, we need a little help. So I think that's the only chance they have. It's a copycat league. Do exactly what the Lakers did to advance, and you'll be fine. But if you want to talk X's and O's, you want to talk basketball, there's a few things that jump out to me. Defensively, you can't play in spurts. You're more than capable of being the best defensive team on this court, but you can't play in spurts like you did against the Bucks. You can't play in spurts like you did against the Celtics. Every minute, every moment, every game counts. And then from a AD and LeBron standpoint, I don't know if you guys watched this closely. Well, of course you guys have. But LeBron James can score at will in the paint. You got to dominate him. You got to make this guy score outside of the paint because this guy is like a tight end. He lowers his shoulder, he gets into the paint, and he scores at will. You can't let him do that. And AD, make him beat you from the perimeter. You want it? Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you hit the game-winning shot, and you feel good about yourself. Now beat us that way the entire series. I think that's your only chance. And then if that doesn't work, just go back to just calling Adam Silver.
Oh, so.
Well, that's what they did. I mean, am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Denver was the better team, right?
That happens moderately often. Just to defend, that happens moderately often. It's like, it's not, they pick up that call. Do they pick up the call when Broussard pleads for Nick Wright to get a vote? No, they ignore that one. They send that one to voicemail. But they do often pick up, they're like, hey, can you take a look at this referee call? Broussard, I think you did a great job laying out all the reasons that the Lakers might lose, and you're like, the Lakers don't have the Heat don't have a chance. They do have a chance. I'll give you this other thing. It's been broken down very simply, like, hey, the best players usually win the finals. And to really go back and look at it, you're looking at Pistons against Kobe and Shaq, and you're like, Chauncey ends up being the Finals MVP. But if the Heat won, you could make an argument that 4 guys could be MVP. Bam could be MVP. Jimmy could be MVP. Tyler Hero could be MVP. So I'll give you a nightmare scenario because I'm going to try to bring it to Jordan eventually. Get ready, Nick. Put your helmet on for this. There's 3 scenarios for LeBron here. Best scenario, one's good, one's bad, one's very interesting. The best scenario, Broussard, LeBron plays great, wins Finals MVP. Okay. The worst scenario, they lose. Doesn't matter how LeBron plays. Heat win. LeBron's legacy takes a shot 3-7.
The Lakers win and Anthony Davis gets Finals MVP. That's the third scenario.
So what happens?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, what happens?
That's great. That's great.
That's not fine.
They win the title.
That's very possible.
It's very plausible. It's absolutely in play.
You think that's good for it?
It would not be bad for LeBron. LeBron finally admitted this week he's the one who went out and got AD. Nobody doubts who the best player on this team is over the course of the season, over the course of these playoffs. Like that, there are certain people that would bother them. LeBron James is not one of those people. But can I address one thing Chris Broussard said for a moment? Because I just can't let it stand. You're right, Broussard, that in the 2013 finals, the San Antonio Spurs baffled LeBron James for 3 games, and they went up 2-1 in that series. In the final 4 games of that series, LeBron James solved it, averaged, I think, you can check me on this, 32, 11, and 9, and you don't have to check me on this. The way that finals ended was him hitting an 18-foot jump shot in Kawhi Leonard's mouth. So, like, they solved it briefly, and then LeBron resolved it. And I would argue he's a smarter, better player than he was 7 years ago, Broussard.
He's a smarter player, but if they can baffle him for 3 games, you're right. They baffled him for 3 games, and he talked to some former people that worked on that staff and knew what the Spurs were doing to figure it out. And so, yes, 3 games is great. But here, let me get back to what Wild said. The only place that it will hurt LeBron if AD is the Finals MVP is in the GOAT conversation. That's it.
Oh, my God.
And that would be, that would hurt him because Jordan, 6 championships, 6 Finals MVPs. I'm not, again, LeBron's number 2. He's the 2nd greatest ever. But you nitpick when it comes to the GOAT.
Jenna,
that would be
what is happening
to pick.
Jenna,
I'm just keeping it
Wiles
real.
and Broussard, hold on, Jenna, Wiles and Broussard have too much integrity. They have too much integrity to start the asterisk conversations as other people will. And they also don't think No, I'm giving you credit. You guys aren't putting an asterisk on the season because that's one way to discredit LeBron. And they don't, and neither of them think the Heat are going to win. So it's like, but wait, what about my beloved Michael Jordan? What can we do? What if the Lakers win and it's bad for LeBron? What if the Lakers win and it actually hurts LeBron's legacy? Here, coming up next. Yeah.